The next two rules that we're going to learn for derivatives is called the product rule and the quotient rule. We're not going to be able to see the hard examples of these rules in this section because we haven't covered a variety of function derivatives yet, but we are going to use this rule in more than just this section. In fact, pretty much from here on out, we're going to keep using product and quotient in just about every derivative problem. So this first one is saying that if we are trying to multiply two functions and then take the derivative of the result, this is the method we're doing that. So you take the derivative of the first times the second without the derivative plus the first times the derivative of the second. So let's suppose I want to take the derivative of x to the fifth e to the x. Well, I go ahead and take the derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. The derivative of x to the fifth is 5x to the fourth, and the derivative of the first is x to the fifth. The derivative of e to the x is e to the x. And you can either leave your answer like this, or you can factor out the e to the x if you wish. And this here gives you your derivative. Similarly, if we have a fraction of two functions and we want to take the derivative, we can use the quotient rule. So here's an example. The derivative of e to the x divided by x squared plus 1. So we're going to go ahead and we take the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom over the bottom squared. So that's the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. And then we get to do some simplification here. The derivative of e to the x is e to the x times x squared plus 1. E to the x times derivative of x squared is 2x. The derivative of plus 1 is 0 over x squared plus 1 squared. And then if you want to, you can factor e to the x out on top. You'd have x squared minus 2x plus 1 over x squared plus 1 squared. And again, you could maybe FOIL things out or factor things out depending on what your preference for how you leave it. But there's nothing that we'll be able to cancel here. And so that would be your final answer. So the main thing you want to get used to for product rule, right? Derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. For the quotient rule, it's the exact same terms except a minus sign instead of a plus sign. And then on the bottom, you're dividing by the original bottom squared.